Hey there, hi there. It's Andrew Fazekas, the Night Sky Guy, your guide to the night sky this week. Today is January 16th, 2023. Thanks so much for joining me. It's great to see you guys. I can see the comment section. I love seeing all the comments of where you're watching from and what you're doing with sky watching every week. It's a busy week this time too. Why don't we jump right in? First off, we have to talk about, and I've gotten a lot of comments in the last few weeks about Comet ZTF. This Comet ZTF is in the news a lot. You've probably seen it in your local news, maybe on nationals like CNN has had it on, a lot of the other Fox News, BBC News. I've seen it, of course, all over the place. They're talking about it. Even the astronomy circle of media is really caught onto it. Now, comets are basically giant dirty snowballs, right? They can be many miles or kilometers across, and they're basically frozen dirt, ice, boulders, gas, all in a big giant ball, basically. And it circles the sun, usually in very distant, far reaches of the solar system, like this comet is. And it's drawn in by the gravity of the sun sometimes. If they just happen to be bumping in or getting close and pulled by the gravity of something nearby, they start careening in towards the inner solar system and swinging around the sun and then going back out in a very highly elliptical orbit, a really squashed egg-shaped orbit. And Comet ZTF is making news because hopes are that it is appearing to brighten quickly, and the hope is that it'll be visible to everyone, even those of us that maybe are not very familiar with the night sky could possibly see this comet. Now, Comet ZTF is behaving really well in terms of its brightening. It's almost at the limit of naked eye vision, so unaided eyes could possibly see it from a very dark location as a little tiny fuzzy cotton ball in the sky. But I have to tell you, I want to keep it real for you guys because, I'm not going to oversell something here. And comets are notorious for not behaving as we predict them to be. Many times they just fizzle out. And this one, my feeling is just, even though with all the hype out there, it's probably going to still be not so easy for most people to pick out in the sky. Perhaps with photography, maybe using your smartphone, you'll be able to pick it out. With binoculars or telescopes, definitely, it's not a hard object. But to actually locate it in the sky and find it with the naked eye, I'm hoping it will be easy, but right now the predictions are for magnitude 5 brightness maximum on, I think, February 1st, when it reaches its closest approach to our planet Earth. And that'll be something like 42 million kilometers away. By that time, it'll reach magnitude 5. If it does that, that's still, for most of us living in and around cities, we won't be able to see it. You won't see this comet unless you go out to a very dark sky somewhere in the countryside, at least a half hour to an hour drive away from the city. And then bring your binoculars and telescopes. Probably binoculars you'll need to catch that, to track it down in the sky, to actually see it. You got to know where to look in the sky to find this. Now, with all of that said, I don't want to rain on everyone's parade. I just want to keep it real, because you're going to hear a lot about this comet. It's already so much. The last time people saw this was Neanderthals were around 50,000 years ago. That's great. Of course, they didn't know what it was. The probability of it being bright, who knows if it was brighter or not. But there's so many comets every year that just fizzle out, and for the vast majority of us, we just can't see them. And it's really frustrating as an astronomy communicator to hear all this buzz about something, and it's going to be not within the realm of most of us to see it easily. So I'm hoping that maybe that's wrong. I'm hoping so. I love comets. They're the most fantastic things to see. Really, the last time there was a really good spectacular comet for those of us in the northern hemisphere, you'd have to go back to the late 1990s. It was in 96 and 97, it was Comet Hale-Bopp and Comet Hyakutake. Those were the two last really great comets where you go, wow, it's spectacular, it's beautiful, you can see the tail in the sky, all of that. And everyone could see it. Even those of us that really don't do sky watching regularly could find it and easily see it. So you have to go back to the late 1990s. This is not going to come anywhere close to that, nowhere near it. You're probably going to need binoculars if you're near a city to be able to really get a sense of it. It'll look like a little fuzzy cotton ball with a little wispy tail, most likely. But with that said, maybe you're up for a challenge to see it. So why don't we dive into the Planetarium program, and I'll show you what I mean. Right here, this is where Comet ZTF, or C/2022, when the year is named after the year of when it was discovered, early last year, by the Zwicky Transit Facility, which found it accidentally. This telescope did, robotic telescope, and it's named after that. That's why it's called ZTF for short. And ZTF is right now in the early morning sky. So this is set at dawn, about an hour, half hour to an hour before your local sunrise. Looking towards, you can see very high in the east, there's the moon. This is now set. I've got the sky set where the moon is there. This is Tuesday, January 17th. So this is tomorrow morning from this broadcast. If you're watching this on Monday, the 16th, this is tomorrow morning. There's the crescent moon hanging in the sky, and it's way above there. You'll also see a bright star in the east. The brightest of all dots in the sky in the east is the star Vega, and the comet is above there. See, it's not that easy to find unless you use binoculars or telescopes, really, and you know your way around the sky a bit. A way you can kind of narrow your field of view of where to look. So if I just widen this, you can see there's the horizon again. You're going to be looking for the moon, forming maybe a triangle with this bright star called Vega, and which is a white star, the brightest in that part of the sky. And then above the moon will be an orange star called Arcturus. Okay, so those two stars, if you look at those and you kind of look between them, is where this comet will be, and above there, forming another kind of triangular shape. You can see this. Let me just bring this down here. There you go. So zenith means straight up. So this is practically looking straight up. If you're somewhere in the northern hemisphere, that's what this is set. Now these stars in relation to the comet is going to be the same no matter where you are on the Earth. But where it is in the sky, how high in the sky will be different depending on where you are. Higher up in higher latitudes, closer to the North Pole, or closer to the equator, or south of the equator, it'll be different. And this is really for northern hemisphere folks. So if you're in the northern hemisphere, now's the time to check this comet. In February, those of you in the southern hemisphere will get a chance also to see it. But right now, this is where the comet is, forms kind of like a flattened triangle. You can see this line represents its path in space. And if we want to see where Comet ZTF is in relation to Earth and all the other planets and the sun, you can see right there. There's the comet in this animation. You can see showing you all the orbits in colors. You'll see all the different colors. I'm zooming out now, and you'll see all the planets and the sun there. There's the solar system, and you can see that the comet is traveling almost perpendicular to the plane of the solar system. There's Earth, there's Mars, Mercury, the sun, Venus, all the players of the solar system, and you can see where the comet is. The comet is right there. And it basically just approached the sun, the closest to the sun, just a few days ago, last Friday. And this is right now where the comet is heading. The comet is heading towards what's called perihelion with Earth, the closest approach to Earth on February 1st, where it will be 42 million kilometers away. And mark that down, February 1st is probably when it'll be at its brightest. And right now, as I said, the prediction is magnitude 5. So that's where it is right now. If I kind of magically go across as the days progress, you can see heading towards February 1st, the comet will have a closer encounter. This is where it will be on February 1st with Earth. But it'll still be far away, at 42 million kilometers away. And now it looks close, but it'll be basically between the orbits of the Earth and Mars. And it'll be much closer than even Mars is. You can see as I zoom around in different kind of orientations, you can see on February 1st, this is how the comet will be in relation to our planet Earth. And that's when we expect it to be the brightest for us here on Earth, looking up in our skies at this comet. So if I kind of go back to where it is now, here we are on Tuesday, January 17th. Tomorrow morning is your next opportunity to see the comet. I'll zoom back out at the sky, and there it is right now. And so I will post the sky chart for this, and there are very good sky charts out there by astronomy magazines like Astronomy Magazine, by like Sky and Telescope, spaceweather.com. These are really good resources. I'll put them out on my channels, on my posts, so you can go and investigate this yourself. But just keep in mind, it can be extremely frustrating to find comets sometimes when they're this faint, for especially those of you who are unfamiliar with the skies necessarily and are not into navigating in the night sky very well, because this is an object that's, you need binoculars right now to really spot it. And hopefully from a dark site, you'll be able to see it with the naked eye in the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned. So that's really the story of the Comet ZTF. So just stay tuned for more information on my posts. I will let you know. Now, what else is there? Something to see, some other things beside the comet. Well, the planets. The planets are still there. This is after sunset. You can see a really beautiful swath of planets, all our neighboring worlds in a line: Mars, Uranus. Uranus is, of course, something you would need very dark skies to see with the naked eye, but an easy target with binoculars. It's a green dot, a very definite greenish colored dot that you'll see through binoculars. That's planet Uranus. Then a super easy, the brightest here is Jupiter. Next door is Neptune, which you need binoculars for sure, because it's past magnitude 8, which is very faint. It's binocular level for seeing Neptune. But then you have Saturn and Venus holding down the fort down in the southwest just after sunset. So this is just after sunset. And as the minutes pass after sunset, you got to be quick to see Saturn and Venus, because you can see they just follow the sun. I'm just going through each click that you're seeing here is 1 minute past after sunset. And here we are about a half hour after sunset. So you need a really good view towards the low southwest horizon to catch Saturn and Venus. Now, what else is there? If we kind of shift our attention to as the skies darken, what you'll notice is that this week we won't have the moon in the evening sky, which is really fantastic because this is a great opportunity this week to do what's called deep sky observing, looking at constellations, at stars that make up constellations, learning them. The glare of the moon isn't going to interfere with that. So you can kind of connect the dots and learn your constellations. This week is great in the evening time after supper. And with the early sunsets, for those of us in the northern hemisphere, it's very convenient to be looking. Just make sure you bundle up. Like here in Montreal, my gosh, we are like, it's minus 18 degrees Celsius where I am. It's beautiful, sunny, crystal clear skies, but you have to bundle up. In the evening, it gets quite cold. So that's important, staying comfortable while doing some sky watching, even if it's just for 20 minutes to a half hour is great. And that's what I do. I go out, I walk my dog in the evening, a couple of times in the evening, and I do some sky watching, take pictures with my smartphone, and I have fun, even in the wintertime. And sometimes I take out a telescope when it gets milder. But when it's minus 18, minus 20, it's just a quick walk, getting my eyes adapted to the darkness and looking at some cool things like this, like what you're seeing right here. This is very cool to see because these are, and you know, I get asked by people, when is the best time to do sky watching? When are there bright stars in the sky? And what's fascinating is that the winter skies are really for northern hemisphere, and the summer skies for those of you in the southern hemisphere is actually filled with higher concentration of bright stars. Stars that are like, you know, the brightest that you could see with the naked eye. And it's not an imagination. It is true that that collection is visible. And this, what I have here, right here, I will just zoom out so you can see more of it, is really impressive. It'll draw your eye. We're talking about the constellation Orion, the constellation Taurus, the Bull. This region of the sky is chock full of bright stars. And to learn your night sky, to learn about astronomy and get into the hobby of sky watching, it just doesn't get any better than doing this group of constellations because the bright stars guide you. You can do what's called star hopping. Yeah, and it's something really easy to do because you just use these bright stars to point your way. So just to get you guys going, look at this. You've got the belt of Orion. Now, this 3 stars are just so evident. It catches your eye. It rises in the southeast, and this is like early evening, after supper time, any night, this week, next few weeks. Look for it to rise in the south a little earlier as the weeks go by, always a little bit earlier at night in the evening. It's really prime time right now to be looking at Orion and use it as a guidepost for finding nearby stars. So take these 3 stars and kind of draw an imaginary line upwards until you hit the next brightest star. And that is Aldebaran, the orange star that represents the eye of Taurus the Bull. Now, what's really cool is right now, Taurus happens to be the home for the planet Mars as well. And so you'll see that distinctly orange, reddish color of planet Mars nearby to Aldebaran. It's really cool. Now, what else is near here? I mean, if you just continue that line, this imaginary line, we can see right down here at the bottom of the screen, Orion, just take it up. You'll meet Orion, continue upward, use binoculars perhaps. That'll help you. And you'll see a cluster of stars. Now, this is visible to the naked eye, this cluster. It's called the Pleiades, or the Seven Sisters. I talk a lot about this because it is just so magnificent, and you gotta see it. If you haven't, it's gorgeous. If you've seen it before, now is another good time to revisit it because the moon is out of the way. So you get it. And if you have cold, wintry nights like I do here, where it goes down to minus 20 at night or 25, it can be crystal clear. And if you don't have haze, my goodness, this is an absolutely knock your socks off beautiful cluster. And it's one of the closest clusters to Earth. That's why it's so bright. That's why you can see it with the naked eye. So check that out, the Pleiades. And by the way, it's 444 light years away from Earth. That's right. Just think about that. 444 light years. That's how long, 444 years, it takes the light to reach your eye from this cluster. And, it's incredible to think about. Over 4 centuries, that light travels to hit your eye, those photons of light. So you're looking back in time. And then you have, of course, Aldebaran close by. That in itself as well is 67 light years away. Mars is 6.23 light minutes away. That's right. That means that the light from Mars takes just under 7 minutes to reach your eye. So what a vast difference of objects, eh? You've got a planet. You have a large, old, aging, dying red giant star called Aldebaran, which is about 67 light years away. And then you have the Pleiades star cluster, over 400 light years away. Vast differences in what these objects are, what they represent, and what they look like, and their distances. And it's all right there. You can see this with the naked eye. You do not need binoculars, no need for telescopes. Just your eye and looking up on a clear night. Check that out tonight if you can. It's absolutely beautiful. And again, what's the key to this? Simple. It's just literally using, if you're not familiar with that sky, find that line of 3 stars that represents the belt of Orion and just point upwards, point to the right. And I'll put that off to the right-hand side of that in the northern hemisphere. If you're in the southern hemisphere, you'll be looking towards the left of it. Just move off and follow those 2 orange stars that you see here, Mars and Aldebaran. They really make a fantastic pairing. So check that out. And there's a whole bunch of other stars. There's the Capella. There is Castor and Pollux. You can see here Castor and Pollux down here. Let me see if I can do it. There's Betelgeuse marked there. There's Rigel as well down way below the horizon. If you wait a little bit more and you're patient for that, the next hour, you'll have even Sirius and Procyon joining, 2 other bright stars. And of course, you'll notice that Sirius down below, if you just go to the opposite using the 3 stars in the belt of Orion, look what happens. Look the opposite. We went before, right? We went upwards to look for Aldebaran up here, right? From using the 3 stars. Now try going the opposite way, and you'll notice you'll reach Sirius. Just remember, just wait until Orion goes higher up in the sky, until that super bright star, Sirius, pops above the horizon. And just think that star is only 8.6 light years away, Sirius is. That is one of the closest stars to the Earth. It ranks as one of the closest and is actually the brightest star in the entire sky. No matter where you are on Earth, that ranks as the number 1 brightest star, Sirius, in the constellation Canis Major, the great dog, little companion, canine companion for Orion, the mythical hunter. So I think that's just fantastic. Now, if we kind of move along in the evening and into the morning, just before the morning skies, there's the moon again. Look at that. You can see the moon. And so if you're an early bird, look towards the southeast skies in the early morning at dawn, about a half hour to an hour before your local sunrise, and you'll find that crescent moon. This is Tuesday, right? So Tuesday morning, if we kind of move on to the next day, look at that. Wednesday morning, circle your calendar. Wednesday, January 18th at dawn. So I'd go out about an hour to a half hour before your local sunrise and look for this beautiful pairing between the star Antares and the crescent moon. It's just gorgeous. I would even hazard that this could be a beautiful photo opportunity, maybe with your smartphone. And it's in the constellation Scorpius. Scorpius, the arachnoid, the giant mythical arachnoid in the sky. And by the way, if you haven't looked at the ancient mythological stories, it was the bite from this scorpion that really killed the mythical hunter Orion. And if you notice, Orion is rising in the east in the evening, while we see Scorpius rising in the morning skies. They're literally on the opposite side of the skies, and that's what the ancient Greek gods wanted to do. They felt so sorry for the mythical Orion hunter that he died during the battle with against the giant scorpion. They made sure that that would never happen again in the afterlife by placing Scorpius in the opposite part of the sky from Orion. It's a really great story. There's a lot more to that. It's a big soap opera in a sense, and it's fun to learn about. But that is why Scorpius is where it is in the sky. So, and we usually see Scorpius in the evening sky throughout the summertime, and we see Orion in the evening time during winter. So, really cool. You'll find the moon pairing up with Antares on January 18th, Wednesday morning. Do check that out. It's a lot of fun. So with that, guys, thanks so much for joining me. That was a lot of fun. A lot of really interesting times in terms of what's happening in the sky with the comet, of course, coming, and a lot of buzz related to it. I'd love to hear your experience with it. If you're taking pictures through binoculars, telescopes, with your cameras, if you're seeing it, I'd love to hear about it too. And I will make sure I'll post some updates on that too. So keep you up to date on where and when you should be looking for it and what to expect with the comet. Now, if you're interested in all things astronomical, I invite you to check out my book, The Backyard Guide to the Night Sky. It's available wherever books are sold. It's published by National Geographic, and it's something that's really, I think, perfectly adapted to whether you're a beginner or a seasoned sky watcher. It's filled with all kinds of information. It's a soft cover, and it's available, as I said, wherever books are sold. Of course, if you're interested in a personally signed copy, I do invite you to check that out on my website. I'm actually selling personally signed ones, and you're welcome to check that page out. I'm going to send you a link right here. Put that in the chat. If you're interested in ordering your personally signed dedicated copy, that's available. I've got a new batch. I was sold out for a while, and I just got another delivery of some of these. So I'm happy to say I have them in stock. And also, let's not forget, I have another book for available. It's called The Stargazer's Atlas. This is a true giganticus of a book. It's 6.5 pounds. It's a coffee table book, so it's not something you would put in your backpack, but it's something that you would use on a cloudy night to kind of chart out how to investigate, how you're going to do your own exploration of the night sky, using sky charts for every single one of the 88 constellations. I've written all about their mythology, their cultural connections, what kind of treasures you can see in each of these constellations, and also a lot about astrotourism, which is a burgeoning industry. There's also some of my fellow writers at National Geographic have contributed their expertise to archaeoastronomy too. So if you're traveling and looking for places that are devoted to astroarchaeology, fantastic stuff. And of course, the science. We've got the science in there, and the heart of the book is all about the the sky, basically, and what you can see up there. All 88 constellations for both north and southern hemisphere. So check that out, whether you're using binoculars, telescopes, or the naked eye. I am selling basically personally signed copies of this giant Stargazer's Atlas. So and it's shipping internationally. So check that out. I put the links in there. Thank you so much for joining me. I love that you spend a few moments of your day with me. I hope you found that useful. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, wherever you're watching. Please do show your support by sharing this video too and signing up. You don't want to miss my next video. So until then, I wish all of you guys clear skies. Bye-bye.